It's Cinemassacre's Monster Madness.
This week, we'll be talking about the Alien franchise. When I say Alien, you know exactly what I mean, and that's the power of this film. It takes a title that's as generic as Alien and makes it into a household name. We'll start with the first Alien film, directed by Ridley Scott. Much like Halloween, Alien is a slasher film about a killer with a body count. The only difference is that the killer is an extraterrestrial life form, and the setting is in outer space, where, as the tagline says, no one can hear you scream. It's brilliant. It's fucking horrifying, and it still is. I can't think of anything more disturbing than a living creature inside your body ready to burst out. I still think the movie is stronger before the alien starts killing people, because after that, it sort of becomes victim to some of its horror trappings. My point is, I like the first act better for its slow and suspenseful build-up. Interesting to think that I like when nothing is happening better than when stuff is happening. To sum up Alien, it's distinctly a horror film and a science fiction film. It perfectly balances the two, and in both categories reaches its full potential.
It's Cinemassacre's Monster Madness.
Making a sequel to a groundbreaking film is never an easy task, but when director James Cameron was assigned to it, he nailed it. Nailed the shit out of it. Aliens was released in 1986. That's about 7 years after the first one. That was back when they took time to make sequels. Nowadays, by the time a movie gets to the theaters, they're already working on the sequel. Just like the first Alien, it takes a lot of cliches from the 50s and molds them into something that's fresh and new. One thing that's great about this movie is that you don't need to see the first one to know what's going on. It fills you in very quickly, and since it's a little more action-oriented, it seems to attract a wider audience, which helps act as a gateway to introduce more people to the first movie. A lot of people saw the sequel first, including myself. This movie put the Alien franchise into our pop culture. Several movies ripped it off, and it's been parodied in cartoons like Ninja Turtles. It came out during the big video game revolution. This was the Nintendo age, when video games were becoming more advanced. Several of them got their inspirations from the Alien films, such as Metroid, Xenophobe, and especially the Contra games, which make blatant references to not only the facehuggers and the xenomorphs, but also the space jockey from the first Alien. And is this thing from Metroid also inspired by the space jockey? Aliens is a great sequel, one of the best sequels ever made. It's debatable if it's better than the first or not. They both have their special merits. So, fuck the review, just watch the movie. Alien 3, or Alien to the Third, was an unexpected sequel. How do you top Aliens? The answer? You don't. It seems the number 3 is often an unlucky number with sequels, and this one's no exception. Right from the start, there was a lot of trouble with the project. Many different writers and directors were involved with it. When David Fincher was assigned to the directing task, he had little time to prepare, didn't even have a finished script when they started shooting, and the studio interfered with a lot of his decisions. Lots of film productions are troublesome, but all that matters is what comes up on the screen in the end. And Alien 3, unfortunately, isn't that awesome. When I saw this for the first time when I was about 12 years old, I couldn't even stand to watch it. This movie is so depressing it'll make you want to blow your brains out. After rewatching it, I've tried to appreciate it for its somber tone. It goes without saying we're back to one alien again, which I'm all for if it works. There's no weapons on this planet, so they don't have any resources to fight the alien. It's a good attempt at making it a scary movie again about one monster, but it fails at generating any suspense. Alien 3 is not a terrible movie, it's just okay. I wish I could say it's underrated. Every time I rewatch it, I always hope it'll grow on me and that I'll discover some artistic merit that I overlooked, but every time, I'm always just as disappointed. They should have stopped at number 2. Alien 3 was meant to be the final film of the franchise, but with any movie that doesn't satisfy its fans, give it 5 years and out comes Alien Resurrection, literally trying to resurrect the franchise. With a cliche, shitty title like that, the movie gives you exactly what it advertises. It throws away the serious tone of Alien 3 and goes for simple entertainment, for better or for worse. I saw it in the theater on its opening day. I remember enjoying it, but since then haven't felt any desire to watch it again until I had to do this review. It's that kind of movie. Its purpose is to rack in some cash while entertaining moviegoers for a few weekends, and then it fades from memory. This movie may not be a masterpiece, but it's more entertaining than Alien 3. Alien 3 went for an artistic vision, but failed. Alien Resurrection went for entertaining trash and succeeded. It's the golden turd of the franchise. It doesn't take itself seriously and doesn't try to be anything more than what it is. By the time Alien vs. Predator came out in 2004, it built up so much hype that it couldn't live up to its own epicness. I watched it for the first time recently, so my expectations were very low, and I wasn't as disappointed as everyone else was. It's not terrible. To me, the perfect adjective is underwhelming. It's not as bad as everyone says, it's just not great. There's nothing specific in this movie that sticks out to me as bad, it just has an overall aura of cheapness. It has some great action highlights, but no memorable characters, and nothing else really worth talking about. If you thought the first Alien vs. Predator was bad, check this out. Aliens vs. Predator Requiem. Yep, they tried it again, and again they failed. I think eventually the series had to go in this direction after it exhausted every other possibility. I can understand why they wanted to set this one in a common world that we recognize as our own. This gave it some potential to see what kind of damage these species could do in a residential area, but it doesn't live up to its potential as much as it opens the door for typical horror cliches. In the US, anytime a movie gets a PG-13 rating instead of an R, people flip their shit. So with this one, they gave it an R and satisfied everyone's demands. It even says it on the back of the DVD. Honestly, comparing the two movies, I didn't notice the gore that much. The only thing I did notice was how the series went on such a downward slope. It began with two cinematic masterpieces and then de-evolved into I Know What You Shit last summer. Hopefully we'll see some better crossovers in the near future. You know what would be awesome? If there was no humans in the movie. Yeah, no discernible dialogue, just aliens and predators in space killing each other for an hour and a half, instead of focusing on a bunch of douchebags caught in the crossfire.